And we're back at the talk show in our house. That's right. Yeah, you can make noise. It's fine. So basically, the whole reason that we're even doing this is last fall, I kind of accidentally went and saw LCD Sound System, and I have no excuse for why I hadn't really listened to them much before, because it seems like they'd be really in the middle of my lane, and I was wrong, and I didn't check them out sooner. And I just really fell in love with the fact that James Murphy was like in his 30s before he actually like did the thing. And I'm also in my 30s, and I've got a large pile of very small failures behind me. And
you can stop that famous bird?
No, that wasn't a joke, but it is funny. So really, this entire thing for me is about how do you make the thing that you actually want to make? Because I mean, y'all are all like, or mostly at Belmont, right? We got a lot of Belmont representation here. I assume that a lot of that has to do with the fact that you want to make things, right? And it's not always easy to know like how to get from, you know, I have this idea to it's actually happening. And I don't know if any of you feel this way, but I have a mountain of ideas that never came to fruition that could have been great, and I just had no idea how to connect the dots. So Dycee and I are going to talk about how she made the film festival that I love, but I don't like it when I watch talk shows and the guest and the host are the only people talking. So we have a comment mic that's going to pass around if anybody else wants to jump in. But we're going to start with Dycee. Dycee,
hey.
You are the founder or a founder of Defy Film Festival.
Correct. I am the co-founder and the director.
Okay, and so who are the other moving parts on that?
My partner with it is named Billy Sinise, and he's a feature filmmaker in town, and he came to me one day and was like, this sounds like a fun idea, and I laughed because it sounded like an insane idea. And then all of a sudden one day we just started taking it seriously. Okay,
wow. Oh, this is huge for me, because have you guys ever had this conversation where you're like, guys, we can do the road trip, right? And but it just never happens, right? So what was it about Defy that was an idea that you actually made happen? Was it that the idea was better, or you were ready to do it?
Probably both. Mm-hmm. It's also, I think, and almost all of my creative ventures that have been anywhere close to successful have happened because other people were involved. I really believe in collaboration. Like this probably wouldn't happen if you didn't have friends who are helping.
Physically be impossible.
So I think partly with somebody else saying, no, really what? And he kind of had the big dream, and I sort of knew how to put it together because I have a history of event planning in Nashville, specifically with like film-oriented events. But it just seemed crazy. It seemed like not a thing that you can just like say. And in the beginning, even after we were like started moving forward down the road, I like felt weird to say out loud that we were starting a film festival. It seemed like so audacious.
What did you call it before you called it a film festival? When you would talk about it, you're like, I don't want to call it a film festival.
I think I probably said film festival. It was like, we're just, like a film festival.
Right. You just kind of like, the normal sentence, and then film festival.
Because the Nashville Film Festival is huge.
Right.
And, to like enter into that market here in the city is like, now we're doing something super different than that. And that made it kind of a safe place to say, like, we were going to dig our own trench there. But, yeah.
So for the unfortunate souls, poor unfortunate souls who aren't yet familiar with Defy, what is it, and what makes it different from other film festivals in the city?
Okay, so it is a film festival, 2 days at Studio 615, but it's different because it's based around a mission statement about finding films and celebrating films that are doing something really kind of different and trying to move the conversation around cinema forward. There's a lot of like film festivals that are kind of just looking for films that seem like big budget films, and we would like films that are like, oh shit, I have never seen anything like that before. So we curate a day and a half of shit that I have like can't believe somebody made, but it's always something where everything that we do is made with the spirit that this show was made with and our festival was made with, is things where people are just like, hey, maybe we do this instead of hang out on the couch for this weekend. And
right.
That spirit really like builds a kind of creativity that I think if you have all the resources that you think you need to do something, there's some level of creativity that it's not necessary then, and so all of a sudden something's lost.
So for the Drowsees, like, why are you a band? What happened? There's a mic right there.
Oh, sorry.
We'll edit this part out.
Nope, we will not.
No edits.
Oh no.
I have some anxiety that no edits has become like a bit of a catchphrase
You've
at
locked
this point.
yourself
Yeah,
in
I've kind of
now.
locked myself into no edits.
Really made a meal
I mean,
of
from a
that
production
crap.
standpoint, it helps, but from a dignity standpoint, I'm not sure it does.
Just keep saying no edits, but then fill it up.
Just
No
make sure
edits.
that I edit as soon as I say no edits. So the Drowsees, why and how?
Why and how? Oh, great! Yeah, I was.
started.
You want me to- Hey, folks.
But you really nailed it with that microphone.
So originally, we started out as a band called National Yampoon, and
I have additional questions.
there were like 7 members in this band, and then one by one they were all like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. And then I was like, Hunter, do you want to be in a band with me and Tommy? And
Tommy!
Yeah.
Tommy!
We're definitely gonna change the name.
Yeah, we're the Tommies now.
yeah. And Tommy, what was it like from your perspective?
Originally, I came to Belmont playing guitar, but someone needed a bass player on their Craigslist band. So I just, there was like so many guitar players.
And only one Tommy.
And only one Tommy.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's my perspective. But I started liking bass a lot more than guitar. You get like way bigger amps, and you don't need to buy as many pedals. It's like it's fretless and stuff, so that's fun. Anyway.
Great story.
And I was in a band through all of high school, and I knew that I wanted to play music in college, but the type of music I was playing in high school was very different than what the Drowsees
What was
were
the name
doing.
of your worship band?
Yeah, really interrogate me. No, we were like pop rockish, clean, crunchy little guitars, and it was fun. I wanted to do something a little weirder, and they were definitely doing some weird stuff.
Yeah, nailed it.
Which I thought was really fun, and I thought we all worked together as a collective really well, where we each had slightly different tastes, but just enough overlap that the overlap being like King Gizzard and King Gizzard.
So it's kind of a King Gizzard overlap is what I'm hearing.
A lot of King Gizzard overlap, and just a lot of our tastes in music were just very similar with one another's, and we decided, get weird with it.
So what is the thing that like would be really satisfying to happen for the Drowsees? You'd be like, man, if this happened, we can quit.
Well, we just want to make really good albums, actually. I think is kind of
That's a far better answer.
the goal. In the spirit of failure, I actually brought something that's a limited, one-of-a-kind sort of thing. This is my band from 9th grade. We were called Unsung Legacy. There's me.
Did we have,
That's
do
me
we,
right
do we
there.
have a camera on this? Is any getting the shot?
This is me right here. You can zoom right down. I look great. Yeah, we totally thought we were going to go big. It, for whatever reason, did end up happening. You'd think AC/DC covers would get you really far, but they don't. So, in the spirit
You're
of
playing in the wrong
failure,
states, my man.
some musical endeavors that didn't quite pan out. But limited edition, you might be able to buy it after the show. The shirt off his back.
That's exciting. No edits.
What about some of your failures, Charlie?
Oh boy, I was going to go into failures of the audience, but let's get into it. I mean, I
You
think that.
have to grease the wheels before you make that.
Okay, that's very fair. I mean, in some form or another, pretty much most of the creative ideas that I've had, they get off the ground sort of, but I've lived in Nashville for 11 years. I finished up my undergrad at MTSU. I've never stopped being in bands, in those like 13, 14 years. And played a lot of shows in Nashville, you know, but I think that there are a lot of bands like that. There are a lot of guys like me who took landscaping jobs or, you know, whatever you do after college to give you that, well, I want that creative freedom to go and, you know, do my art. But like in reality, you can't afford to eat, and you're trying to figure out, like, you know, how you're going to make rent. And it can be really difficult to really make yourself go do something more than just, you know, write another sad song for the same 200 people in Nashville. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the truth is that I think that if I just stopped making music today, maybe about 200 to 300 people would be kind of bummed for about a week, you know, and that's
not true.
but I mean, like, no, I think that's pretty realistic, like, honestly. And that's not, I'm not trying to, you know, fish for pity. I just think that's probably the fairest assessment that I can make of, like, what I've done and the efforts that I've made to, like, make it available. And I think a lot of that gets tied up in, you know, like, I love that you guys just want to make records that you love, because I think I was probably maybe another decade of life before I thought, what if I just made a record I like? Mm-hmm. You know, and that's an amazing mindset to have. And I think that's probably the best way to make something really good. Does anybody else have a thing that you want to make? Isaiah. The mic is coming. No edits.
Okay, I had a misunderstanding of the original question. I thought we were talking about our failures.
We are talking about our failures.
Okay, well, okay, all right.
But
great.
also our dreams.
I'll try to make this quick. I'm a chatty dude. All right, so talking about failing and, like, coming out of failures. I'm not saying any of this to crow about how great I am. I think that there's just loads of people that could identify with this. But years and years ago, I was in bands that were signed on record labels, and we were touring. We were being written up in national magazines, all that stuff. And some people define that as success, right? But the fact is that I was so poor that I was illegally living in abandoned property, which there's a term for that, and it's called a squatter. I didn't have a shower. In my mind, that's like the glory days, right? Like, like we were on the tour and we were playing with these big bands and stuff, but it was honestly, by other standards, a colossal failure. And now looking back, you have to start to wonder, well, what does define success, right? Because at a certain point, the chasing of what most people would call fame is not necessarily the same thing as success. I think now success is defined by kind of like what you were just saying over here with these gentlemen, making something that you're proud of and that you would be happy to show somebody this thing. So in terms of the question that you asked as the mic was being passed to me, what do I want to make? Well, I want to make something that when my kids find it, they're not going to laugh. Like, they're going to say, wow, that's pretty cool. I want to make something that I can be proud of and listen to 15 years from now and not be ashamed of it. I want it to be an honest expression of something that I felt at a time. I value expression way more than entertainment now. And so, okay, in terms of what I want to make, no edits. I'm in a band currently that had a very, very dark day. We played a show that didn't have an opener, so we decided to open for ourselves under a slightly different band name.
This feels amazing so far.
And we decided to play as a Nashville band. So we dressed up in, like, suits and ties and had an acoustic guitar and turned off our distortion pedals. And our drummer played with, like, those hot rod sticks, you know, and we played songs that we had written. We sang the same lyrics. We played at the same speed. We did everything. It was just quieter and dressed up. And there was, like, nothing outrageous. It was like 60 people, and they were going crazy for it. And then we were like, well, this has been a really fun experiment. We'll be back in about 20 minutes as ourselves. And we came back out with, like, our ripped jeans and our sleeveless T-shirts and bandanas around our heads and ripped into the loudest, fastest punk that we could do. And the room died. And we realized the only reason we're not popular is because we don't dress up and we don't have an acoustic guitar. So the band almost broke up after that because we were so disheartened. But at a certain point in time, you realize, like, well, I don't care if 60 people that I've never met don't get it at one show in this like back alley venue. I care about the fact that when I listen to this album, it brings me to life, and I want to tell people about that. So it's a matter of just redefining what success is.
I like that. Does anybody else have a thing that you want to make? Because I know that we talked about it beforehand, so I know that some of you do. This is a dick move that you are pulling.
I have a Grateful Dead cover band called Jerry's Belly.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what's keeping you from making this, Tommy?
We actually have a show.
Oh no, it's happening. Okay, great news.
Boulevard Records Store, February 16th.
That's amazing.
Be there, be square.
This will not be out before then.
Yeah. All right. All right. I'll just stick to Facebook for the promo.
It's probably best. It's probably best for letting your mom's friends know where the show's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's going to be watching this, so she'll be happy for the mention.
The shout?
Yeah. Hi, Mom.
Right.
Can we all collectively say hi to our moms real quick?
Hi, Tommy.
Hi, everyone's moms.
Hello, everyone's mom. This is probably a really poor time for me to bring up that my mom did pass away about 10 years ago. It's fine.
I have a question for Dycee.
Hi.
Yes, Corey.
Yes. Why do you know all the audience members' names?
Oh, I don't. It's just been a really good run so far.
So I play in rock and roll bands. You do your film festival, but also I have a day job. I have responsibilities at home, those kind of things. Do you juggle a day job with your extracurriculars? What's that day job? And how do you find the balance in committing the time to do the film festival and do the other things that you want to do, but also earning a living, day job, those kind of responsibilities, and just kind of like what do you have on kind of that front? Because I'm sure a lot of people that want to make things are also trying to pay their rent, eat, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So this is actually my favorite thing to talk about. And I didn't plant you in the audience. We've never met before, but I'm really glad you brought that up. I absolutely...
We talked about this when we were walking around in the yard earlier.
Yeah, did you plant him?
No,
Okay.
no. He
Perfect.
started saying that. I was like, oh, this is so great.
Yeah, so for a long time I was just a freelance filmmaker, and it sounded very cool. It's kind of a similar thing where like I was making music videos for people and I didn't have a day job, and I was just like, and everyone was like, so you're living, you're doing because of your art. And I was like, yes, of course I am. But actually I really wasn't making a lot of art. I wasn't doing things that I cared about. I didn't have any income. It like sounded cool on paper, but I like never knew, I couldn't juggle those things. I couldn't like, pay rent or like do normal people things, but it sounded good. It sounded like I was like, doing something with my degree. And so then like really, I think, and there's lots of failures, but like my biggest emotional failure as an artist, as a person making something, was when I had to bite the bullet and get a real job. And I was like, well, I'm a dead person now. This is the end. And I was so distraught. And I called up all these people and was like, please just like hire me to do a music video right now. Like, please make sure this isn't my life. So my day job is I edit really shitty commercials. And I do that 9 to 5 every day. I was late here today because that's what I do. And I thought it was going to mean that I couldn't be creative anymore. But actually, somehow this like magic thing happens when you just occupy that part of your brain and you aren't worried about how you're going to live and how you're going to, just eat and like maybe not work at Walmart when you're 60 years old. And all of a sudden I like had some ability to actually start making art. And so it was before I was only able to make things if somebody else could pay me to do it. All of a sudden I like could hire my friends and make short films and do things that I really care about. And it gave me the opportunity to devote a bunch of time to this like crazy idea to have a film festival that is an insane thing for people to decide to do. All of a sudden just committing this like ultimate failure of saying, I guess I'm not a full-time artist anymore, made me like, I've made more art since I got that job than ever before. I make like short weird horror films with a collective of female filmmakers. We call it Daisy Dukes.
Oh my God, I want to talk more about this.
But like I couldn't have done it before because I can't ask my friends to come out for free every time to like come hang. I can't not feed them food. I can't not buy special effects goop, and like all those things have to happen. And so that balance actually was like admitting that I couldn't do it, and that like all of a sudden my friend Sarah Saturday, I think you know, she's wonderful, and she always talks about it in terms of like, if your art is your baby and then you have to like put your baby out on the street to make money for you, it doesn't really work that way. But if you can make money and then feed your baby, all of a sudden like the art gets better, and like the film festival got better and everything. Yeah. So don't be afraid to have day
Slow
jobs.
clap. Yeah.
Everyone feed your baby.
You know, Tommy, we're feeding Tommy.
Evidently, I'm very popular. At Belmont.
Tommy, I don't know a lot about how being popular works, but I fucking guarantee this is it. That's exactly what this is. Just really soak this moment up. Are all the cameras on Tommy right now? Can we just make sure every single camera is on Tommy?
All right.
Yeah.
Let's not go crazy.
All right, I got a question. Hi, friend. So, in the how many years have you been doing the film festival?
So we're going into our third year right now,
Awesome.
and it'll be in August.
So
We just started taking
in the 3 years.
submissions.
In the 3 years you've been doing it, have you ever had a time in the process of making the festival, whether it be working with other filmmakers or production, thought maybe this was a big mistake and had kind of a wall you hit?
I mean, there's freaky things when you're kind of on the line for a lot of, you know, there's just a lot hanging, a lot of high stakes. And so, yeah, there's a lot of moments, like when the first year, when we like opened up the door for submissions and you just kind of were waiting and hoping that somehow people talk about you, and hoping, because it's really like a word of mouth sort of thing. And so, yeah, there are tons of moments throughout the process of like first hoping that people find your film festival and filmmakers can submit, and that they're got cool weird stuff, and you put your ideas of what you wanted into words well enough that you're getting what you asked for. And then that worked out, and you're like, oh, thank God we got submissions. And then it all starts over again, because then you have to hope that people in Nashville come out and buy tickets and want to come see it, because otherwise what's the point? And so, and then like you hope that the filmmakers come out. And so at every one of those moments, it's like oh my God, what have we done? This is like, what if it doesn't work? But then it does, because I think there's something about kind of entering something, and with event planning specifically a lot, but I think this is actually really true of art as well. And this kind of goes back to what you guys said. It's like planning a thing that I would want to attend, making records that you like, making short films that I like making music that makes you feel like I'm going to be proud of this someday. Like if the barometer is just like, would I have wanted to attend this, then someone else is going to dig it too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's more clapping.
we need to make Dude a shirt that says slow clap. I love what you said there, because you know I think I spent just a unbelievable amount of years operating on this idea that, like, you know, if I just believe that they'll like it, and that's just not true.
Yeah.
I think the true thing is that, like, it just doesn't matter if they like it.
Right. You have to not care about
I'm proud
that.
of what I've made. I think all of the things that I'm least proud of were the things that I tried to make in a way that would have a wider lane. You know, have any of you guys ever fallen down the rabbit hole of the Mountain Goats? This is a band. Yeah. So I recently fell down this rabbit hole, and man, something that I love about just the way that the guy who's kind of the central dude of that band, John Darnielle, he has an amazing way of just making exactly the thing that he makes, and not really giving a shit about how it's received or whatever. He's also like insanely prolific. He puts out like an album every year, you know. So like, I don't know, if you didn't stick the landing on this one, fuck it, I'll just get the next one. And it's so foreign from the way that I've tried to make things, especially when I was in college. I was in this band in Murfreesboro, and we were like pretty popular in Murfreesboro. and we played in Murfreesboro maybe 100 times in about 2 years, and we played like 3 out-of-town shows. What's that? A question I don't want to answer, Corey?
What was the name of the band?
The name of the band was called Murphy, and it wasn't great. And that was a name that I actually tried to change a number of times, and my bandmates were like, I don't know, I mean, people know us, you know, and the people in Murfreesboro knew us. Like, nobody else knew us. Murfreesboro, yes. But I don't know. For me, like the more that I get comfortable with just making something that I like, whether or not it's something that people that I want to approve of me like, the more satisfied I am with the thing.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And also just not taking myself too seriously, because I err on the side of over sincere, and it's cheesy.
That's good though.
It just is what it is.
Yeah, a little cheese is good.
Charlie Murphy, sincerely cheesy. Is there anything else that you guys want to tell me about, like the thing that you want to make before we hear from the Drowsees? Again. Yes, Rich.
Okay, hey there.
Hey, Rich.
So Tommy was discussing Jerry's belly earlier.
Get into it.
And honestly, it's a metaphor for art as a whole, because the belly is not just Jerry Garcia's belly. It's your belly too. And the food that feeds it is called getting off.
It's all our bellies.
And so we, as musicians, we've all experienced getting off before. It's when you've been up there playing or you've recorded something and, you just transcend your body for a sec.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
You have that moment where you're like, yeah, this is working.
Yeah. It just feels really good.
Yeah.
And that's the food. We
Feeds
just
the
artistically want to get fat. Like Jerry Garcia.
That's a genuinely wonderful idea. I do
So-
want to get artistically fat. Rich.
Artistically fat.
That is beautiful.
with getting off. And it's just, you fill out.
Get off and get fat.
Right? No edits.
Thank you.
Wait, here it comes.
Hi. I
Hey.
have 2 things I want to say. First, I think artists have a tendency to be rather spoiled, where they want the best of both worlds.
Be more specific.
I'm going to. Here we go.
Great news.
I think that artists want this perfect, serene world where they can make whatever they want, and making it can be difficult, but they don't want to be involved in the business of it. Or they just want to make exactly what they want to make and not be involved with the rest of the world and the rest of the issues. So when their dream...
Back up. Hold on. That is very interesting to me. So are you saying that artists want to make a thing that they think is valuable without having to consider like the implications of the thing they're making? Okay.
Or the audience. But for example, when someone puts out an album and that album isn't enough to pay the bills, they're very bitter about it. And I think that's incredibly immature to assume that your art should be enough for everyone else and should be enough to pay your bills. And then when they have to take on the day job, there's that frustration. You said that you edit commercials, like shitty commercials. That's way cooler than laying concrete. And I'm personally...
I'm going to push back on that just because I know some dudes who lay concrete and it's fucking cool. But there's a way to love it.
But that's still
Laying
utilizing
concrete
your
'cause you
degree.
have to lay concrete instead of because you want to lay concrete.
Wearing yourself out for anything that you don't love doing sucks. Yeah.
But it's still a job that you have gotten that a lot of people don't have. And I think artists have a tendency to overlook that. So I'm an audio engineering major, and I'm probably going to go into perm install.
Oh, good.
'Cause
Have you taken Nathan Adam for a class?
Oh, yes.
Oh, thank God. Because if anyone in this room hasn't taken Nathan Adam for a class, you've messed up.
But that's something that relates to my degree. That's something I invested in and I'm going to make money through. And I think that people have a tendency to overlook that and sell it short. So even though my dream job is not to install audio equipment, it's going to allow me to do other things, and it's fine.
And in fact, that's important and awesome.
Yeah, and I think that I think the fact that that's fine and that that's sustainable and you can still be happy doing that gets overlooked a lot in artistic communities.
I like the thing that you're saying, but I feel like you're talking. There's a lot of blank spaces that I would love for you to fill in. What is the thing that you want to make that's kind of extra to the? What's the baby you want to feed?
I want to produce.
what's a record you would love to produce? Like, have you heard a record lately and you're like, oh shit,
I wish I made that.
yeah, I want to have made that.
Nothing comes to mind specifically in this
That's a
moment. 'cause
bummer.
You're all looking at me.
Yes,
But
we'll cycle back around. But
I'm
I
a
love
techie
that.
and I like to be behind people. But I'm gonna pass this on.
Yes, Isaiah.
No, I have a question for the audience. I was wondering, so for those of us who, I was just wondering if there's some people that are like, well, I do this, but I wish I were doing that.
Yeah, is anybody like thinking about changing a major? Okay, why? Hold up. Thinking about changing schools?
Yeah,
Where? Where do you want to go?
probably Vanderbilt across the street.
Right? But Belmont just isn't expensive enough.
No, it's not.
Not nearly.
I have this theory that the only reason why we have classes is so we're walking around when they give tours.
Wow. I gotta say that's an opinion not endorsed by Talk Show in Our House on an official level. But I'm glad that you felt the freedom to tell me you felt that way.
Thank you.
Is anybody else thinking about changing a major or changing schools for a weird reason?
Or anyone about to embark on like a really cool project?
Yeah.
That's a different question.
Do any of you have a thing that you really want to make, but it's kind of fucking scary to make it?
So I am a musician, and that's one of my defining things of I play or if not defining, like things that I advertise, that I play music.
Do you mean that that's like kind of a core component of the way that you understand yourself, like as a big part of your identity?
Kind of, but also I just know that when I go into the professional world, I want to do something involving music and the making of it. But I also love writing plays and scripts and all that, and I do it all the time. And
are these being produced anywhere?
Back at home, I had a couple go up at our local play festival, but since I've moved here, not really.
Yeah. Hey, come on. We know the first local film festival.
Oh, hello. Where is that? Oh, hello.
I think that's incredible. That's incredible.
What was the name of that again?
It's the Defy Film
The
Festival.
Defy Film Festival. That's very exciting.
I actually had the opportunity to screen films for them last year, and it was pretty brutal. It was so I was basically the guy who was like watching this whole batch of movies to clear out the bad ones so that the people programming the festival wouldn't have to bother with them, and it was pretty rough.
But you got some goodies. You got some.
Oh
good
man,
ones.
I got some real goodies. Honestly, like a lot of I got a whole string of them. They were like feature length narrative films about like that were definitely about the filmmaker coming to terms with his own sexuality, and there was like just a lot of dicks. I just saw a lot of dicks.
We made sure you got all those.
Success.
But
Yeah,
did
no,
you know that? We
yeah,
were like, send it to Charlie.
I got all the dicks, and it was a time for me to grow and learn.
You gave the best notes though because you're so enthusiastic about everything. So all of your notes were like, "Oh my god!"
But there were a few shorts that I saw that I was like, "Oh man, I've seen something special." And
Short films, right?
bazing.
Nailed it.
Now it's a real show. So we were talking before we started taping. You have this really cool idea for a thing that you want to make.
I'm not sure if I want to tell it, just because I feel like somebody would steal it. But
you have all of us as witnesses that it was your idea first.
okay, yeah, fair enough.
How copyright law works.
I mean, copyright and
Patents
not the same thing. You can
Give them three words out of order.
Okay, you
I'll
could also
tell
just not
you.
talk about it if you don't want to talk about it.
No, I'll talk about it. So,
Okay.
over the past weekend, I went down to Athens, Georgia, with one of my buddies. His girlfriend lives down there, so we went to visit, and he is not a good driver at all. And he was just like swerving. He has, those like in tractor trailers, they have the little wheel that you like grab to help you turn the actual steering wheel.
Yeah.
He has one of those, and he drives with that. And no offense, Dean, if you're watching this. Exactly. Like, he wears glasses, but, like...
Well,
Come on.
okay, just keep in mind that I'm responsible for everything you say. This is
I have
getting
contacts
dicey.
in, too. I don't mean to... Never mind. But I was talking...
No edits.
Yeah, no edits. I was talking to him, I was like, dude, somebody's going to rear end you because you keep slamming on your brakes. So... on the back of the car, where there's the 2 tail lights, and then there's the little, like, 3rd tail light in the middle.
The brake light?
Yeah. So we were talking, and I said, dude, what if when you press on your brakes, that light lit up kind of, like, from left to right, and it was kind of showing the person behind you, like, the intensity of how hard you were pressing your brake pedal. So nobody steal that.
I mean, that is kind of a brilliant idea that could solve a lot of problems.
Yeah, I would take it to Ford and just be like, look.
Okay, probably not Ford. But, you know.
Is this a Chevy household?
No. I think we quit there.
Subaru was one of our sponsors. We gotta go to
But
Nobody told me this before.
And how that happens.
Oh, I heard we were talking about that today. Nobody's in that class I have. Never mind. But okay, maybe a different car company. But yeah,
It's a great idea. Guys, I am so glad that you have come to actually be a founding member of Talk Show in Our House. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and hear some more from the Drowsees.